2021 season, week 14. This was the Thursday night game, Vikings-Steelers. So the Vikings are going to miss this third down conversion. They're going to send out the field goal team, and they're going to go up 29-0. At this point, the Steelers need to think, if there's any way they're going to win this game, it's either going to be because they tie it 29-29 and go into OT and win, or because they manage to win 30-29 in regulation. I know the Vikings got one more score, and as it was, the Steelers were still in it. That was very unlikely. The Steelers couldn't be counting on that. You need to think you're going to hold the Vikings to 0. They're only going to score 29 in regulation, and you're going to get into the end zone 4 times. Now, those 4 touchdowns will get you 24 points, and you either need 5 points over 4 conversions to tie it and force overtime, or you need 6 points over 4 conversions to win 30-29 in regulation. I don't know which one Tomlin was trying to do. What we do know is he went PAT, 2-point conversion after their first 3 scores. I'm going to show you why that was a mistake. It made no sense to go for your first 2-point conversion after your third score. Whether Tomlin was trying to win in overtime or whether he was trying to win in regulation, he needed to go for that first 2-point conversion after the first score. Here's the Steelers' first touchdown. Harris is going to get the 1-yard touchdown reception. That's going to give him 6. And they're going to send out Boswell. He's going to make the PAT. That's going to make it 7. But whether you were trying to win in regulation or overtime, you needed to go for 2 after that first score. And here's why. So if Tomlin won in overtime, how is he going to do it? We saw what he did after the first 3. PAT, 2-point attempt in that order. So if all those were successful, you would get a PAT on your 4th touchdown. That would be 5 points in 4 conversions, and that would be 29-29 you would play in overtime. Let's compare it to how I would do it, because I have a much better way of doing it. If I wanted to get into overtime, I would go for 2 first. If that's successful, you get 3 PATs after that, and then that's your 5 points in 4 conversions, and then you play in overtime. And something to note right now is that Tomlin's only way and my first way of getting to overtime are the exact same thing. Both ways have 3 PATs. Both ways have a 2-point conversion, and both ways you need to win in overtime. When you multiply, the order of what you're multiplying does not matter. 1 times 2 times 3 is the exact same thing as 3 times 2 times 1. The order is useless. So we're going to multiply the probabilities of each of this to see how often Tomlin would win and to see how often I would win. Right now, Tomlin has no more ways of getting there. I have another way that I haven't shown you yet. So we're at the exact same probability, and I'm going to add something to it. My other way of winning would be you could miss the first 2-point conversion, and then you could get a 2, get a 2, get a 1, and play in overtime. We would still get 5 points in 4 conversions. Tomlin's way, think about it conceptually before we put any numbers into this, he can't miss the 2 and still get 5 points in 4 conversions and get into overtime. You go for 2 first, you could make the 2 and get there, or there's a way you could miss the 2 and get there. So one thing I haven't mentioned, there is technically a way Tomlin could miss the 1 and still get there. He could miss the extra point that Boswell just kicked, and then you could go 2-2-1. That would get you 5 points in 4 conversions. I'm not going to include that because it's such a small number. Boswell to miss a point after is going to be something like 5%, and then you're going to multiply that by 4 numbers between 0 and 1, and it's going to come out to something like half of 1%. It's not worth even including in any of this. So we could just ignore that. So Tomlin has one way. I have 2 ways. One of mine is the exact same way that he has. So whatever that number is, I have that plus something else. I can't have a smaller number than he does. So let's plug in some numbers. Boswell, we say 95 to make the kick, 5% to miss. And for a 2-point conversion, I'm going lower than what I actually think, just to show you that even though my way has a lot of 2-point conversions in it, you should still be going for 2 first. So the league average most years is in the high 40s. If we say 40% to make the 2-point conversion, which is going to mean 60% to miss it, this is the way Tomlin has. PAT 95%, PAT 95%, 2-point conversion 40, and then a PAT 95, and then win in overtime, which I always say is 50-50. I have that exact same number. Yeah, different order. But when we multiply, it's going to be the same number. And I have a second number I'm going to add to it. 60% to miss, and then 40% to make it to, 40% to make it to, a PAT, and then win in overtime. So Tomlin is 17% to win. And this is given that you get everything else. There's really no way around getting all your defensive stops and getting into the end zone 4 more times. So the times the Steelers' offense and defense succeeds on that front, getting all those punts from the Vikings and getting into the end zone as many times as we need, once all those things happen, Tomlin's way of doing the conversions, the Steelers are going to win 17% of the time. My way of doing the conversions, it's going to be 17% plus another 4.6. You would win 21.7% of the time. And I could show you the same thing if Tomlin wanted to win in regulation. So we know what he did after the first 3 touchdowns. So his way of winning in regulation, which is what I would guess he was trying to do, was PAT, PAT, 2-point, 2-point. And again, we'll compare it to my way because my way is a lot better. I would go for 2 first. So if you get a successful 2 and then a successful 2, then you have it easy, PAT and PAT. And something to note again is that these are going to be the exact same percents. He has 2 PATs. I have 2 PATs. He has 2 2-point conversions. I have 2 2-point conversions. And this time, I have 2 more ways. I'm going to add 2 numbers to this to see how likely it is that you would win if you went for 2 first. You could miss the first 2, and then you would need 3 2-point conversions to get your 6 conversions in 4 attempts. Or you could get the first, miss the second, and then get the third, and then get the fourth. That's another way to get 6 points in 4 conversions. So we plug in those same numbers. Tomlin has one way, a couple of 95%, a couple of 40%. I have that exact same thing in a slightly different order, and then I'm going to add another number to it, and I'm going to add a third number to it. So Tomlin, given he gets all the defensive stops and he gets into the end zone as many times as he needs, he's going to win about 14.4% of the time. I'm going to win that much plus 3.8 plus 3.8, and I would win 22% of the time. No matter how you were trying to win down 29-0, you needed to go for a 2-point conversion after that first score. And now we could get back to the game, and the Steelers are going to get their 3rd touchdown here with about 12 minutes left, and this is going to be their first 2-point conversion attempt. And like I said, and like I showed with the math, whether you were trying to tie and win in overtime, or whether you wanted to win in regulation, you needed to be going for your first 2-point conversion after the first touchdown.